everybody, I'm Maria.
I'm Max.
And we're
confused and we're excited. Hollywood, you need to up your game.
For real.
California, you don't know how to party in this case. We're going to talk about
the best
Nollywood movie ever that her sister Shadow told us about.
Shout out,
it's on Netflix.
The movie was released in 2019. It's called Sugar Rush. It's an action, comedy,
drama,
suspense. Like it's a heist movie.
We said heist at this.
2 of 3 sisters discover $800,000.
Oh, spoilers by the way. Right off the bat, it's already just full on
chaos. First of all, I really like the fact that it's a heist movie because you don't get a lot of those within like African movies or Nollywood movies, and there's no reason why not. Like we can do a heist movie, especially because it's real life. There's many heists here in Kenya or in Nigeria.
There's a super powered magical element
that
you don't learn about until a good 3/4 of the way through the film,
and it's so well done. Don't let that don't think of the traditional Nollywood movie with like bad special effects. This was really well done.
The special effects were on point. Like I'm shocked. It looked better than most Hollywood things.
Somebody had Adobe After Effects.
Somebody had Adobe before effects and during effects and mad props like just to drop like the fact that there's supernatural beings in this heist at the end of the movie is so hardcore.
I mean, I love that about movies that like you think it's one thing and then it reveals itself to be like 2 things or 3 things.
I can only think of like a couple Hollywood, like Coen brothers do that, like Men Who Stare at Goats.
Yeah.
In fact, it's the same thing where someone phases through matter. I don't know if that was like just a coincidence, but it's kind of cool that happened that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has everything. A little bit of budding romance.
It has a lot of pathos as well. Like you see the motivation behind.
Yeah.
You know, like what this money means to different people. Financial livelihood, political pressure, economic pressure.
Like being a good cop is like not worth it. Like you'll just get screwed if you're not also corrupt, which is kind of an interesting angle. And to that point, like there were at least 5 villains.
At least 5 villains.
Like the tall, handsome cop and the goofy Kevin Hart cop.
Yeah, definitely The Rock, Kevin Hart. Yeah.
But eventually, by the end, they actually become, or one of them actually becomes like a real character.
Yep.
As he's like sitting there just like with incredible pecs, just dripping sweat, drinking the water in this lady's kitchen.
Hi, sorry.
Yeah.
And then they have an actual meaningful conversation and you learn about their backstory and you're like, oh my god,
motivation.
These are actually great characters.
What makes you think my work doesn't matter?
Are you talking about this Nigeria?
What's the same Nigeria?
Before you know it, you will be charged with crimes you didn't commit and sent to prison by the people that actually committed the crime.
Their boss,
who's a corrupt.
She's first of all, even when we think she's on the side of God, she's a bit of a villain because she's really mean.
So it's levels of problems. Kuna matatas,
many matatas. Then there's the sophisticated lady who has them strung up in the beginning of the movie. Lie and like stiletto heel kind of villain.
Looks like
very
Nicki Minaj
arch
hair. And then there's another mob boss who's so over the top. Who talks like it talks like Lupita Nyong'o in Us. Like, where is my money?
You spent $150,000 US in 3 days.
One of the sisters has like a useless boyfriend who steals the money from her and then gets beat up and then dies. So you already think that maybe one of the sisters or one of the main characters could die. Their mother is being held hostage. She's this very sweet old lady.
There's a real like sense of danger and actually something bad might happen and does happen.
And then this doofy youngest sister just farts.
Yeah.
That's a gun to her head. Which has to have happened in real life.
Then the very last villain. Hey! Like I personally felt intimidated, like just when he was like walking around before you saw that like he is demonic.
You thought the main who you thought was going to be the main gangster villain. You thought he was scary. This guy shows up and straight up bullets just bounce off him.
For real,
like literally he's a demon or something. I'm so sold. I'm not even. This guy needs to be. This guy is better than like any MCU villain. This guy there needs to be a Sugar Rush cinematic universe. As is typical with a lot of Nollywood movies, like very dramatic.
Very dramatic.
Overacted.
Yeah,
Everyone
very
is
big
shouting.
Theater acting.
Playing to the very, very back row. Playing to seats that are not even in the theater. Like you're
Yeah.
across the street and you're like, are they talking to me? But it's good. I feel
Yeah.
like everyone in Hollywood movies, like the current style, people try to be too cool. Like everybody tries to be
Very
too cool.
small.
And it just doesn't, it just loses the energy.
Yeah.
And it also, you don't know what they're thinking or wanting.
Often, like, why I think a lot of people even say that books are better than movies, because the author has space to kind of write the internal conflict, but in the movie, just somebody just like Robert De
brooding.
Niroing.
Yeah.
Then you're like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
So these guys, you can see the whole thing,
Right.
the struggle playing over their face. You can see Susie, the older
Yeah,
sister,
I was gonna
like
say.
fight between being happy she has money for her mom
Yeah.
and like scared of the
Scared and also wanting the life. And you see her struggle on her face as she's
Yeah.
like, guys, no, we cannot be
we can't
lavish.
keep it.
But then she eventually gets won over because she would be crazy not to like kind of
Yeah,
be won over
yeah.
at some point, you know? The sick mother is actually like a real character, which is pretty rare. Like usually the sick mother is just shown in one scene and you're like, oh, and it's like a PSA for like poverty. But this is
Yeah.
actually like you kind of get her. She's there, she's
get the
in multiple
backstory of
scenes,
her
you see her
husband and what
reacting.
happened. Yeah. 2 female villains. Have you ever heard of that? Two female villains. Are
Two.
also quite different from one another. This movie actually became the 4th highest grossing Nigerian film of all time.
Wow, yeah. Watch this movie. The Confused and Excited Award of the Week goes to this movie. And to
2 thumbs
Nollywood in
up.
general. King of Boys was another great one.
That's an
also
amazing
pretty
action
recently.
movie.
Like, so good, so dramatic. Crazy, criminal, Godfather stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it had a lot of the same cast.
So thanks again for watching. Thanks to all our new subscribers.
Yay.
Kalibuni.
Yeah, tell us what Nollywood movies we're sleeping on. Tell
Yeah.
us about any other, like, Kenyan movies or just whatever, you know, is coming out of the continent of Africa that is impressive because there's so much,
Yes.
including this one.
Well,
She's my favorite African
Yeah.
movie. She's also my favorite comedy.
see you next time.
Bye. Have a good day. Goodbye. Help us.
It wasn't a buddy. Oh.